Welcome to the podcast, War, Geopolitical Risk, Data Storage, and Compliance. This episode, we talk to Mathieu Gorge, the CEO of Vigitrust, about the global landscape for data storage in 2023. We discuss the implications of geopolitical upheaval and the likelihood of increased privacy regulation on storage and data protection. Mathieu Gorge: in 2022 we saw a lot of activity in terms of cybersecurity, compliance and storage, driven mainly by geopolitics. Many nations updated their critical infrastructure protection regulations, and we saw a significant increase in cyber attacks from Russia against the West. Anthony Adshead: so what should we look out for in IT and compliance in 2023? Mathieu Gorge: we can expect more privacy regulation in 2023. We'll likely see a divergence in the regulations between the UK and the EU, which means organizations must be aware of where their data is held and what implications changes in regulation might have. Organizations should also consider what they're doing to protect their data, as well as back it up in a different country in case something unexpected happens. It's important to map out where data is held and what kind of data is stored on each locale. Adshead: where does the impact of geopolitical instability come into the equation? Mathieu Gorge: geopolitical instability casts a long shadow on the compliance landscape. From a storage and data protection perspective, organizations must be aware of the countries their data is held in and how their data is stored. Whether it's the UK, Ukraine, Russia, China, or Taiwan, organizations need to be prepared for anything that might happen. Organizations also need to consider the risk of losing access to data in certain countries, or for that data to be impacted by unexpected changes to regulation. It's important to talk to cloud providers to make sure your data isn't held in places where new regulations may be coming out. Ultimately, it's about understanding where your data is held, what kind of data is stored, and what you need to do to remain compliant and have access to that data. With geopolitical instability here to stay, it's important to stay up to date with the regulations in the countries you operate in. Thanks for tuning into the podcast, War, Geopolitical Risk, Data Storage, and Compliance. Be sure to check back for future episodes.